All right, for more, we're joined by the General Secretary of Numsa, Irvin Jim. Thank you for being with us.
Good evening.
Mr. Jim, I guess congratulations are in order. Will this really change the face of employment in South Africa?
Well, first, I think it's important to appreciate that the highest court in the land have basically provided clarity in that you would know that we demanded to ban the ban of labor brokers. That battle is not over yet because the category that is covered are those workers in terms of the threshold, which, by the way, the Department of Labor for years now, it need to review the threshold and increase it. It's about 205,000 per annum. And all workers who fall in that category, they are affected positively by this ruling. Can
we just clarify this? So I think you said about 17,000 Rand a month or less. Now you're protected by this. You have to be employed after 3 months but you can be a high-level consultant earning much more. You can still be put in place by labor brokers.
Yes. If you are brought into the client environment where for instance, in Mercedes-Benz, you were brought in there by a labor broker and you fall in the category of 205,000 per annum, after 3 months, that worker must be made permanent. That worker must enjoy all other benefits that are enjoyed by workers in that particular site. That's the victory we have secured. But beyond that, those workers still remain vulnerable. But also, we know what's going to be the battle. The labor brokers will now try to say, if they brought you into that site, before that 3 months come to an end, they will try and rotate workers, which is why we're going to be very strong that workers must join Numsa in numbers and immediately jealously guard together with other workers all funny tendencies that employers will try to do to exploit those particular loopholes.
Even beyond that, we had a lawyer representing the labor brokers earlier saying this only affects the Labor Relations Act. So there are other laws which mean that there is still a triangular relationship and the labor brokers are still responsible for some things, for some payments. Do you think this could still play out in the courts? Because now it's all a matter of interpretation and I'm confused.
Well, I guess they're going to try and do everything to try and come back, but we don't think it's that easy. The Constitutional Court took about 6 months to deliver this judgment. We were in court in February. It has been a long marathon for us. And I mean, the situation for workers in the shop floor is very dire. And of course, for them, basically, these are people who are sitting doing nothing. They deploy workers in these factories and they receive the money, but the actual workers who are doing work are not being paid. And therefore, I don't think they will just pull back out of the money they have been basically making out of this particular system.
There are many companies, right, who have been employing maybe on an ad hoc basis or using labor brokers, not permanent. Now they have to give benefits. They have to even look at pensions, bonuses, leave. Surely there are cost implications for these companies and surely there will be less jobs.
It's painful for labor brokers. It has been good for them. About 48%.
But I'm saying the companies that now have to permanently employ these workers,
I think
there are huge costs involved.
I think, to be honest, we think that they have been making profits, they have been making money. It's high time that both the client that has brought labor brokers into the workplace, it's time that they must begin to release those monies that are long overdue to be paid to workers. And I mean, the next battle is going to be from where we're sitting. These workers have been shortchanged from the time that the act was actually clarified, deeming was passed. These employers were supposed to have fixed this exploitation, but they didn't. And from where we're sitting is that we don't buy the argument that this is expensive. We think what we have been seeing and what this act brings to an end is super exploitation of workers.
So you don't think they're going to cut their staff complement? Are you not fearing that?
They're going to meet us in the street. We're very firm that these workers are needed workers. They're delivering quality, competitive production globally. But about 48% of these workers do not even have pension. And that must stop. And they are earning between 17 and 35 less than other workers across various sectors of the economy.
All right, so Mr. Jim, we'll follow how this plays out. Can we talk about another crucial issue, protracted wage negotiations at Eskom? Can you give us the latest? As far as I can remember, Eskom had offered 7.5%, and maybe we were close to an agreement.
Well, it has been a marathon indeed. From a 0%, we're at 7.5, 7%, 7%. We think that we will receive a report tomorrow from our structures as to how have members responded. But basically, we think what is going to be a hold-up now in these negotiations is Eskom resisting to pay workers bonuses. Workers have performed. The Eskom EBITDA last year was around 37 point something. Now it is around 45. And we think that workers have performed. And therefore, it's important for workers to be paid their bonuses.
So you're going to push for bonuses, even though Eskom has just announced, I think it was a 2.3 billion rand loss.
Well, they paid bonuses last year. The loss was about 9 billion. It's 2.8 this year. And the EBITDA is improved from 37.4 to about 45.
But EBITDA is in the end.
I know it is the gross before taxes and everything else has taken place. But what we're saying is that workers have performed. It's important. And I mean, from where we're sitting, we note that, for instance, Eskom sales would have gone down around 0.9%. But Eskom board and Eskom management took a reckless decisions to connect IPPs that are basically destroying the market of Eskom. And we're saying workers should not pay for wrong decision when they have performed.
All right, so unfortunately you're not telling us that the Eskom strike is over, but thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And we'll follow both those issues. That was the General Secretary of Numsa, Irvin Jim. We take a short break. We'll be back.